We begin with the arrest by the RCMP of one of their own senior employees. He was Director General of the Mounties Strategic Intelligence Unit, and he faces multiple charges tonight. Security experts tell us it could be the biggest breach of national security in Canadian history, and that it extends beyond our borders. His name is Cameron Ortis. He is a civilian employee of the RCMP, and he had top secret access to all kinds of sensitive operational information. He appeared in court in Ottawa today. This is what the prosecution alleges he did.
The allegations are that he obtained, stored, processed sensitive information, we believe with the intent to communicate it to people that he shouldn't be communicating it to.
I was, of course, made aware of the arrest. I can assure you that the authorities are taking this extremely seriously. But you might understand, I have no comment to make on this issue right now.
Our Ottawa Bureau Chief Mercedes Stevenson joins me from Montreal, where she's covering the Trudeau campaign. Mercedes, we had trouble even finding a picture of Cameron Ortis. You've been working your sources. What are they telling you about the accused and the secrets he's alleged to have spilled?
Well, the fact that you can't find a picture of him tells you how sensitive his job was inside the RCMP. One of the top spy masters for the country who advised former RCMP Commissioner Bob Paulson on the most sensitive national security files he continued to have access to. He is an expert in China and East Asia. He has a PhD. He had taught at the University of British Columbia, Donna. Very well known and well respected in the national security community. Sources I'm speaking to are telling me they are absolutely astounded by this information. They had no sense anything was going on until American investigators put the squeeze on someone down there when they suspected there might be some sort of international ring operating, some sort of international leaking of information. And that American source was able to flip. And when they flipped him, they got the name of the Canadian. They came to the RCMP, and the RCMP started to investigate him. He was working at RCMP headquarters while this investigation was taking place. He had no idea that the police were onto him. And Donna, they found some extremely sensitive information in his possession. So sensitive that sources tell me the investigators who seized it don't even have the security clearance to look at that information. Terabytes of information, huge amounts that should never have been removed from RCMP headquarters were found in his possession. And to give you a sense of what some of that information potentially could be based on the files that he had access to, here are some of the things that he had access to. The undercover identities for Canadian police and Canadian international intelligence agents operating domestically and abroad. There is now serious concern that some of those identities could have been compromised if he was leaking that information, and they're looking into that because there's concern about the safety and security of those individuals. He had access to every major national security operation in the country, access to every major criminal operation in the country, and he had access to basically all of this allied intelligence beyond that. All of that information would have been filtered through at a level that he had access to because he had the highest security clearance to have that kind of access, and that's where the concern is. Now, what we do know is that he tried to sell information back in 2015, and my source tells me that he was gearing up to sell information again. What we don't know, Donna, is who he was selling that information to or why.
So what else can you tell us about the possible implications of what he's alleged to have done? And do we know who he may have shared information with, if indeed he did?
Well, sources say that this is the nightmare national security situation if what the Mounties are alleging is true, because he had access to the most sensitive files and they don't know where the information's gone, if at all. So they're trying to find that, but they do believe it was compromised. Now, the question is, what does that mean as well, not just for us, but for our allies? The Five Eyes groups, countries like Australia, New Zealand, the UK, and Canada are working together to try to figure out if their intelligence was compromised because he had access to highly sensitive information there as well. The Americans tonight, who are the ones who tipped off Canada to this in the first place, looking into it. There's concern about international criminal and spy operations that were going on that could potentially have been compromised. They're trying to determine that. NATO countries are involved as well, and I have multiple sources in multiple countries telling me that this is part of a larger national and international security investigation, and that we should expect to see more arrests in other countries in coming weeks and months.
All right, and this individual, Cameron Ortis, still in custody tonight. Mercedes Stevenson in Montreal, thank you.